If you're in the market for a brand new truck, then say hello to the new CEN F250 Super Duty that's officially licensed through Ford. This truck is pretty realistic and it's a bit wild with RGB lighting under the wheel wells. And today, we're gonna check out this truck here in the studio, make a few changes to improve some things, and then we'll take it outside and drive it. Now, a lot of you guys are familiar with the F450 Dually that CEN came out with a few years ago, and it's a pretty interesting truck. And now we have the F250. Of course, this thing comes ready to run out of the box. It's 1/10 scale, and it's 4-wheel drive. It does require a battery pack for the truck and double A's for the transmitter. Now, this body is primarily Lexan and it has a lot of details added to it. The cab is one piece and the bed is a second Lexan piece, and then they're secured together. Now, with the F250, it is officially licensed through Ford, and now we have a proper big old hard plastic front bumper with LED lenses, although there's no LEDs back behind here. We also have a couple of tow hooks, and then for the Lexan body piece, the grille, the lights, and the blinkers is all a decal attached to the front, and there are no light buckets behind it. Now, our windshield wipers are also hard plastic pieces. They're fixed on there on both ends and they don't move at all. The mirrors on the side are hard plastic and they're really secured on there tight, and they do have reflective decals on the back side. Now, all the windows, the front, the back, the top sunroof, and the sides, they have decals blacking them out, giving it a bit of almost a tint fade to it. These decals also have a bit of a trim going along the border of all the windows. Now, another decal is on the side. It says F250 with the platinum trim, and more decals are used for the door handles. Now, in the back, the tailgate is another decal with that platinum and Ford badge on there, as well as the tail lights. And again, there's no light buckets behind these lights, but we do have a full hard plastic bumper in the back, and it's got a little mount if you want to put a tow hitch back there. There are 2 more plastic shackles on this bumper, and then 2 more lenses to add your own LEDs into the bumper if you wanted to. Now, something cool is in the bed. It looks like it has a bed liner. It has actual textured paint, so it has a bit of a textured look to it and feel when you touch it. Now, CEN sent us this truck in the blue body color with the chrome wheels, but there's a second color available. There's the orange body with the gunmetal wheel style. So let's put these on. So, what do you like better? Blue or orange? The orange body is the same, it's just a different color. The front grille has an orange trim. The blue body had it blue. The back decal's the same. Pretty freaking nice though. Now let me show you really quick the RGB lighting, because each wheel well is equipped with an LED. Pretty snazzy. Now, we messed with this lighting a little bit earlier before we started making this video, and you can change the RGB colors by using the channel 3 on the transmitter. You just have to hit the button twice to start scrolling through all the different colors. And you can see here when we had that blue body on with the lights off, the light is much more potent coming out of here. But we have all these studio lights on right now, and so it doesn't come through quite so bright. Now, here's our 450. It's dirty, it's seen better days, but the truck is longer than the 250, and it's a little bit wider as well. The trucks are aligned by the rear axle, and you can see the front tire here on the 450 sticking out maybe an inch or an inch and a half further than the 250. Now, what the 250 has is it's taller. It's a lifted truck, and it now has proper hard plastic front and rear bumpers, where the 450 just had it molded into the body. The same for the rear. It's a hard molded plastic bumper on the 250, or on the 450, it's just part of the Lexan. This makes a big difference if you want to tow or have a trailer behind you. There's an aftermarket tow hitch for the 450, and it actually includes extending rails because it's kind of tucked underneath there, hidden a bit. Where on the 250, it's right there under the bumper in the correct location. All right, so with the chassis with this thing, it is very trail truck-esque. We basically have solid axles with differentials inside. There are optional lockers if you want to lock up these diffs. We have a really interesting link setup to get the lifted truck look, with this front end being connected by links to the top of the axle, so it swivels around when the suspension compresses. It's really unique. Now, the servo is mounted up top on the chassis with a really long servo horn to reach down low to that axle. Up front, it is a steel steering link. There are dog bones inside this front axle. and then dog bones are used underneath for the center drive lines. Now underneath the transmission, this is a steel skid plate with a 550 sized brushed motor in here, and this transmission comes in a torque setting, so it's more low RPMs for pulling, but you can adjust it if you want to change a gear position, and you can have a more high RPM transmission configuration. Now this ESC is 2 and 3 cell LiPo compatible. In front of that is our RGB light controller. Here we have aluminum bodied 12mm shocks with 3mm shock shafts, and I believe they're 110mm long for our lift. Behind them is steel shock hoops, and then the LEDs are underneath. There's also a reservoir attached to these shocks, but they're only for looks. There are also front and rear sway bars on this truck, just like on the 450. Now all the way in the back is the battery box, and it uses this pretty interesting fastening system where you have a top plate that releases by twisting this rotator nut. Pretty cool setup. It's very interesting and different the way they've made the link suspension, but it's all for that custom lifted stance and look. Now speaking of the looks, these are officially licensed Fury rubber tires, and they're glued onto the wheel. The wheels can be swapped out by just taking off these 6 1.5mm screws to get that cap off, and the wheel nut is behind that cap. Now to make the truck look even better, we picked up these blue aluminum hot racing shackles. These hooks on the front bumper are pretty cool looking, but these blue aluminum ones are just gonna pop, and we're gonna put them on the front and the back. And then of course, I'm gonna add some trim tape on one of the sides of the truck and see how that just helps it pop a little bit more with some depth. It's done. This didn't take long at all to put those blue aluminum toe shackles on there. We put some trim tape in the gaps for the hood. We did it for the doors, for the door gaps. And then in the back, we put on that tow hitch. That's the hitch for the F450, which includes other parts, but we didn't need any of that. We just used the hitch and put the ball on there, and it looks pretty dang good. You know we have to try a speed run, and it hit 11 miles an hour on that 3-cell EcoPower battery. But keep in mind, that's on the low gear setting on the transmission. If you switch it to the high gear, it'll go faster. Now this is the Yeah Racing aluminum leaf spring trailer, and attached to the hitch, it looks really well. The height and the levelness of the trailer looks proper. Now this is the big old extra speed, heavy duty dual axle trailer, and it sits and mounts a little bit lower than the Yeah Racing. So to make this work, I took the hitch off of the truck and flipped it upside down, so it kind of points downwards. And after that, the levelness of the trailer looks pretty good.
We got Nate behind the wheel. He's usually holding the camera. Today he's got the transmitter.
In the intense daylight, you can't really see the LEDs shining through. At dusk or at sunset, it would pop a lot better, or if you're indoors with the lights down low. The only downsides I can say is that the servo saver is a bit spongy on here, and the truck does not have a tight turning radius. It makes big sweeping turns. Overall though, the truck looks fantastic, especially when it's pulling the trailer full of goods. This thing will make a really excellent hauler with a trailer attached pulling whatever you want to pull. Guys, if you want to check out the CEN F250 Super Duty custom lifted truck, check out our links down below. And if you want more RC, check out these videos.